It is.
Are you ready?
All right.
So time and place for the Water Resources Planning Committee, meeting number 3-25, held at the Water Center, Conference Room 602 in Boise, also with members participating by Zoom and being live streamed for the public. Mr. Patton.
Okay,
Do we need to take attendance of the committee?
Yes, I'm going to ask Megan Jenkins to do a roll call of the committee.
And Brenton, will we get the recording going?
Hopefully, recording starting at good to go.
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everybody. Ms. Cole-Hansen? Here. Mr. Gibbs?
Here.
Mr. Raybould?
Here.
Mr. Stevenson?
Here.
Chairman Barker?
Here.
Mr. McMahon? Mr. Olmstead?
Here.
Mr. Vanstone? Thank you.
Did we have Dale present?
Yes,
Yes.
we do.
Okay. All right. First item on the agenda is State Water Plan ESPA camp update. Mr. Patton, do we have someone that makes a presentation to us for that?
Yes, Neely Miller will give you the briefing on this item, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, Mr. Miller, please, word ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Yes, as Mr. Patton indicated, today I'll be talking about the state water plan and ESPA camp proposed changes. Just a little bit of background. As you'll recall, in 2025, the legislature passed Senate Resolution 110. The purpose of this resolution was to express support for the settlement agreement between the members of the Surface Water Coalition and the groundwater districts on the ESPA. It also expresses ongoing support for the efforts to increase the water supply, to address water supply challenges on the ESPA, and supports the Water Board's efforts to increase recharge goals from 250,000 acre feet to 350,000 acre feet per year. And there, in your materials, I've included an excerpt from SCR 110. Then, as you'll recall, on July 11th of this year, the Planning Committee announced it was going to receive public comments on staff proposed changes to the state water plan and the ESPA camp based upon that, on the guidance from SCR 110. The public comment period began on July 11th and continued through September 30th. And then the committee also announced that it would be holding public hearings, and there were 2 public hearings held. Both of those were in conjunction with board meetings this summer. The first one was in Idaho Falls on July 23rd, and then the second one was on September 10th in Twin Falls. 5 public comments were received in total. 2 written public comment letters were received, and 3 individuals provided oral testimony at the public hearings. And here I have put together a little summary of those comments. I'll briefly walk through them. You can see that the ESP Surface Water Coalition submitted comments. They did it both in writing on September 29th, but they also provided oral testimony through Travis Thompson on September 10th. Generally speaking, that they supported the new recharge goal, included references to recent administrative developments, and requested that those be incorporated into the state water plan. I have attached all of these comments to the materials that you've had time to review, and we can go to them directly if there are questions. The second comment was received from Elmore County. It was submitted on the 9th, and that letter is attached to your materials. Generally speaking, that letter requests the board update policies 4C, 4F, 4G, and 4H, and which they recognize are not being updated now. But they do request those policies be open to address and recognize soft water conversions within the Mountain Home groundwater management area and Cinder Cone Butte critical groundwater area. And that would be for using appropriated Snake River Trust water as being in the public interest. The third comment was from Brian Murdoch and farmer water advocate, and this was on September 10th. And generally speaking, his comments were for support for the new recharge goal, support for new storage projects, including Anderson Ranch, Rays, and the Galloway project. And again, all of these oral comments, our oral testimony, are on the YouTube page, and they are also linked on our state water plan page. The last comment was received from Linda Lemon. This was oral testimony received on September 10th. She's a Hagerman Valley water user, former camp advisory committee member. Generally speaking, she supports the increase in the recharge goal, wishes it was larger, and then concerned about spring declines since the camp was completed. And again, there's those links to the material, those hearings. I will say that there wasn't really any testimony received at that first one. We just gave a presentation. So if you're really looking for the oral testimony, I jumped to that second one. Based upon that oral testimony and written comments, staff has prepared proposed changes for both the state water plan and the ESPA camp based upon SCR 110, the original staff proposed changes, public comments received. So now we will walk through those. And staff has incorporated some changes based upon the comments. There may be areas where you want to add additional comments, or you may want to say to address where staff has included comments and to change those or remove those. So what you're going to see here are the original changes that staff proposed, and then I have highlighted the changes that staff has added based upon the public comments. So the red line you see, this is all what we proposed back in July. So nothing is changing here. But as we get down here, there's a request to have to add a milestone that says projects implemented that enhance water supply above Milner Dam, including projects that improve reach gains to the Snake River between Blackfoot and Minidoka. This really comes from the comments that were submitted from the Surface Water Coalition. They discussed adding that language there. So I'm not sure if we want to discuss these as we go through each item, or if we want to wait till I've covered all the staff proposed changes based upon those comments.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mark.
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
Under milestone on that fourth bullet point, where it starts out implement, stressed out, a state-sponsored managed act, that's an incomplete sentence, I think. I think something needs to be tuned up right there a little bit.
Staff can make that change to say implement a state. I think we removed implement because there is a state-sponsored managed aquifer recharge program, but we wanted to reference that it would have the increased goal. So we will.
Mr. Chairman, perhaps insert the word achieve.
Does that work, Neely?
From staff's perspective, that would
Yeah,
work.
achieve
If
a
it-
state-sponsored. Words to that effect.
That's a milestone.
So the question is, are you comfortable with that being added?
So let me just ask, these 4 milestone bullets are either proposed additions or deletions from the existing milestones entirely, right?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, all 4 of these bullets. So you're looking at the policy as it exists with proposed changes. Staff proposed limiting that second bullet in the comment in the proposed changes that were released for public comment, as well as adding that state-sponsored managed recharge language. So those are both comments that staff had proposed. The portion there of that third bullet, projects implemented that enhance water supply above Milner Dam, that was there previously. Only thing that is proposed to change is that comma, including projects that improve reach gains to the Snake River between Blackfoot and Minidoka Dam. That is the proposed change. Sorry for the confusion.
And that's in response to the comments from the
Surface
SWC. Okay. Are there any discussions about those changes to the milestones from the members of the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I'm good with accepting the language as presented by staff, including the comments from SWC.
Okay, any other comments? Any other comments from members of the board that are not on the committee? So,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah, Brian.
I think these are nice improvements. I like them.
So what I would suggest that we do is walk through the whole thing and make a decision, not piecemeal the decision, not piecemeal the edits as we go.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll walk through the rest of it and then we can go back. 4D is the next policy, conjunctive management on the ESPA. Here, the comments were again directly addressed at the policy itself in the blue box. The existing policy says the Eastern Snake Plain Aquifer and the Snake River should be conjunctively managed to provide a sustainable water supply for all existing and future beneficial uses within and downstream of the ESPA. And you can see here the edits to refer to the ESPA and the Snake River should be to remove below Milner Dam and to remove downstream of and replace with hydraulically connected to.
Any comments on that proposed change from the committee members? Any from the rest of the board?
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, if I might, what exactly does that mean in hydraulically connected? I mean, isn't that conjunctive management only occurs when surface and groundwater are hydraulically connected? Isn't that redundant? Or I
guess
nitpicking?
My interpretation would be that the way it was written before was just downstream of the ESPA. And I think the goal is to make sure that any water that is hydrologically connected to the ESPA is also conjunctively managed. Not just water that's downstream of the ESPA, which would include Lewiston. So I actually like the change,
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
okay. I'm okay.
Okay,
Just asking.
all right, Neely. keep
Moving
going.
along. The next change from the public comments that was proposed is in the implementation strategies of the same policy. And again, these first full bullets, there's no proposed changes. The second to last bullet here, this is a change that staff proposed and the board was okay with at the time for releasing it for public comment. And then this last bullet is a new suggested change based upon public comment and to assist in implementing the ESPA groundwater management plan developed by IDWR. I put that in there because I wanted to make sure there was a discussion within the committee of this.
So I guess my comment on that would be, I don't know what that means. What we would be doing to assisting the groundwater management plan that hasn't been developed yet. I don't know, committee members? Jeff?
Mr. Chairman, aren't we kind of getting into IDWR's bailiwick there? Isn't it the director and the department who formulate a groundwater management plan?
Well, this doesn't say formulate, it just says implement it, which means the director creates the plan, and then it's up to us to figure out how to make it happen, which I think is a shaky ground for the board.
Yeah, I agree. My preference, we can vote on it later, but my preference would be that we not add this extra bullet. Cause I think we're maybe stepping on the department's toes a little bit.
Any other comments on this addition or proposed addition?
Chair.
Joanne?
I agree with Board Member Raybould, but it doesn't add value to the plan from our perspective, from the board's perspective, and it could be stepping on the toes, as he has said, of the department. I'm good with omitting it.
Mr. Chairman, this is Dean. I'd agree with the same there. I think you're right. Maybe we need to stay in our lane on this one.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Brian, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, hearing no other comments on 4D. You have more, Neely? 4D?
I do, Mr. Chairman. Moving on to 4E. Again, these that aren't highlighted were all changes you guys had recommended. And there was the duplicate section that was included in the last version of the plan. And there's no changes to 4E. And there are no changes.
To the previous version.
Yes.
That was proposed. Okay.
No recommended changes based on the public comment. And moving to the ESPA camp, there are no
So let
proposed
me
changes.
back you up to the water plan. The Surface Water Coalition had proposed that we add a bunch of information about all of the administrative proceedings that have been happening over the course of the last 20 years or so. And I wanted to open up for the board and the committee, for the committee members, the opportunity to discuss whether or not they think that is a good idea to include in the state water plan or not. Mr. Raybould.
No, Mr. Chairman, I don't think it's necessary. I think we're updating these policies to reflect where we're at now and what we're doing now. I'm not sure we need all that background in the state water plan itself.
Okay. Ms. Cole-Hansen, were you going to say something?
No. I am a history buff and I like having the background. However, this is a plan and I do think it adds noise to our plan that's probably not needed in this particular plan going forward.
Any other committee or board members? Brian?
Mr. Chairman, I'm okay with this. Nobody in the SWC came to me specifically thinking that we need to recently, wanting to add that in.
So any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, this is Dean. I don't think we need it in. I mean, I think that everybody knows what's there. And besides that, this stuff's all the legal deals still ongoing anyway. So I don't think there's any point in putting that in.
So if it were to go in, it would be part of 4D or 4B.
Correct.
4D, right?
Correct.
And so the concern I had about that was, first of all, I don't think we want to cherry pick individual comments out of any order or about what happened or didn't happen in all of these administrative proceedings. And the second thing is as Cole-Hansen said, this is a plan about what we're going to do going forward. And looking back at all of the administrative proceedings is useful, but it doesn't really tell us what we're going to do going forward unless we're going to adopt something from one of those administrative orders as part of the plan. And I think the overarching, at least it seems to me that the overarching approach in those orders is captured in the plan as it is. That's my assessment. So, but I just wanted to give people the opportunity to weigh in. Okay. All right, Neely, if you would like to move on to the ESPA camp.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Moving on to the ESPA camp. There were two locations where the 250,000 goal was mentioned. Both of them were in the 3.1 long-term hydrologic goal section of the recommendations. Here you can see aquifer recharge. This is a staff proposed change. We changed that to 350, and this went out for public comment, and there were no public comments on this portion of the table. That table continues on to page 2. And here you see the hydrologic targets with the various actions, the phase 1 target, the long-term target, and then changing that managed aquifer recharge goal to 350 instead of 250. And then just remembering that these are mix and match to hit that goal. It's not necessarily additive for folks that add those up in the table. And there were no public comments on this change as well, other than support for the change. I think all of the commenters were in support of the recharge goal, generally speaking. And with that, I would stand for any comments on the ESPA camp proposed changes.
So what I heard today was support for the changes from the that are proposed by staff, both originally with the edits proposed in response to the public comment, with the exception of the last bullet point in the implementation provision and 4B. Is that 4B, right?
Yeah,
4D, sorry.
4D.
And so I think I would entertain a motion to approve with the exception of deleting that last comment in 4D under implementation.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, this is a motion to approve the changes in the state water plan or state water plan and the camp.
It would be, well, you can do it either way. But
Well, I have a question because I thought there was maybe it was an oral comment that somebody wanted us to increase the target change, the balance change from 600 to 700,000.
I do think that was encapsulated in, I think, Linda Lemon's comment that he was saying to increase recharge. The goal should be even larger than the 350, more like 700, I believe.
Okay, all right.
So do you think that's?
No, I think we need to leave it. If you scroll down to the camp and it says the target's 600, I think what we're doing, we make that work. I think we leave that at 600. And with that, based on the recommendations, I would move to adopt these changes to the state water plan and the ESPA camp as we have discussed here today.
And recommend that to the full board at the.
Yes, yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
it.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chairman
Aye.
votes aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're done with item 2. Item 3, American Rivers Stream Channel Alteration Permits. Mr. Patton, what do we have on that?
Okay, Neely will also lead off with that one as well.
Thank you, Mr. Patton. So, Mr. Chairman, at the end of this brief report, you'll be asked to, here you won't be considering a resolution, you'll be considering a recommendation to provide approval for projects to proceed, for which the full board would consider at their regular scheduled board meeting later this month. Just a little bit of background. The South Fork Comprehensive Basin Plan was adopted by the board in 94 and approved by the legislature in 95. Designates from the headwaters of the American River to the confluence with the South Fork of the Clearwater as a recreational river to protect the public interest, current resource use, and multiple use character of the basin. The plan prohibits several activities on all streams designated as recreational rivers. And you can see those here on the screen, the bulleted items. I'm not going to read through them all, but you can see that last one says alterations of the stream channel except for channel reconstruction projects provided with approval from the board. And that's been through a resolution that has been passed. So briefly, I'll give you a little bit of background on this project. And then we do have someone from Stream Channel Alterations here. We have Cass Jones here. And so if you have any questions about the project specifically or the process that's taken place, he can answer some of those questions. I would mention also we have Ann Wybar from the Attorney General's office, who has been in the loop on the discussion for this process. So the department was notified of potential alterations to the American River back in 2023. They were unable to find any permit approvals for work along the American River at that time. They did conduct a site inspection from public land in 2023 and confirmed that Mr. and Mrs. and I may not get these names right, Moshok and Mr. and Mrs. Franz had altered the American River below the high water, the mean high water mark. The department sent an NOV to both property owners in 2025 to cease and desist any further work below the high water mark and to contact the department to schedule an inspection. The department did conduct an inspection this summer, back in May, and concluded that work was done without permits. The department held a separate compliance conferences for both. Both parties signed a contract, signed a consent order and agreement. The COA, as we'll call it, was to submit a joint application for permits that proposed a plan to remove all unauthorized material below the high water mark and restore the bed and banks of the American River. So Idaho, IDWR Stream Channel Alteration staff have reviewed the proposed project. They have indicated they're likely to issue permits for this project. Those permits, their applications are attached to this email. We can review those if needed. And staff has prepared a resolution for you to review if you would choose to approve these. That would be what would be considered at the November board meeting. And with that, I would stand for any questions from the planning committee, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Raybould.
Mr. Chairman, and Neely, if we so are inclined to recommend this to the full board and they take action on the 21st of November, is that timely? Are we holding these people up from going in and doing this corrective action before winter?
I mentioned the summer we went and conducted the site visit, and I think they were very anxious to potentially get this work done this summer. I'm not sure they were able to get there. So I think they're looking at next summer when the next work window, but we can get specifics from Cass Jones here in Stream Channel Alteration.
Jones.
Yes, that's correct. They're still working through another one of the permitting processes with Army Corps of Engineers, as well as there's a specific work window of July, August when this work would typically be done. So yeah, this doing it on the 21st of November would not be holding this up.
Okay, all right. I just didn't want to be holding these people up in fixing their problem. So thank you.
So, Ms. Jones, can you tell us what exactly they did to disturb the stream and what they need to do to fix it?
Yeah, so the Moshoks, they discharge rock riprap, or more boulder size, rock below the mean high water mark for about approximately 75 feet. Created kind of an access there. And then, France, cut the bank. It's about 20 feet wide and kind of made a, kind of an access there as well. Discharged some rocks along the edge of that access. So to make it a little bit easier. Both these properties sit about 10 to 20 feet, depending which property you're on, above the river. So they were trying to kind of access the river a little bit easier.
And they no longer will have access to the river after they do the restoration project?
For Mashak, the riprap design that they're incorporating, we did allow them to keep the kind of rocks that had been arranged more in a stair fashion. And France is going to essentially rebuild the bank, but it won't be 20 feet in the air. It'll be closer to we're really only having him restore it up to about the mean high water mark. So about 3 feet up from where it is currently.
And the staff recommends that we approve these permits, correct?
Correct.
Any questions from the committee or the other board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Brian?
does our approval need to be contingent upon Corps of Engineers approval also, or do we not care?
Well, as a practical matter, it does, but as a legal matter, we can approve it and they still got to comply with their four obligations. Well, I don't know, maybe we may have jumped the gun. This is a joint application, right?
It is a joint application that can potentially generate 3 separate permits. So Department of Lands is also one of the agencies that permits activities off of this application. But on a river such as the American River, Department of Water Resources kind of issues the permit for work on the American River. Department of Lands would issue permits more on rivers that have been designated navigable, so more like the Snake, Salmon, Boise, Payette River. So it is one out.
Their own independent permit. They don't rely upon what we agree to or don't agree to.
Correct. Yep, theirs is the 404 permit under the Clean Water Act, and then ours is the stream channel alteration permit.
Hey, does the committee have any pleasure on what to do with these proposed permits? Mr. Raybould?
Nobody seems overly anxious to speak up, Mr. Chairman. I think we should probably recommend to the full board to consider this as an action at the next board meeting.
Okay. I think that's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second this, Mark.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Chairman votes aye. Okay, you got what you need, Mr. Jones? Okay, good. All right, South Fork, Snake River Comprehensive Basin Plan. Mr. Patton?
Mr. Miller will also do the briefing on this one as well, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Patton.
Miller, please go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, there is no action requested. This is really just a briefing. We wanted to make you aware of an issue in the South Fork Snake River Basin. That there was a basin plan that was adopted by the board in 96 and the legislature in 97. The plan designates McCoy Creek from its headwaters to the backwater of Palisades Reservoir as a recreational river and to protect the public interest, current resource use, and multiple use character of the basin. The plan prohibits dredging or placer mining activities on recreational rivers in the basin with the following exception. Stream channel alterations for recreational dredge mining may continue on McCoy Creek from the headwaters to Fish Creek confluence and on the following perennial tributaries. Would highlight here that The record of decision is referenced in that exception. That's 1994. The Department of Water Resources stream channel alteration staff have received a letter from the Forest Service, Soda Springs Ranger District Office, requesting information regarding rules on the IDWR website for suction dredging in McCoy Creek drainage be updated due to outdated information. And again, I just want to point out that, all these comprehensive basin plans are Part Bs to the state water plan. They do have recreational and natural rivers, and they limit activities. And this is on many rivers throughout the state. In this case, it's related to McCoy Creek. So their letter that they say that they sent in 2023 says the board website instructions reference the 1994 EA, and that these documents are no longer applicable. The correct reference should be a 2021 EA for the Caribou Basin. And then they provide that reference. Generally speaking, what that would do, it would allow up to 15 in-stream operations per year. I believe that is currently limited to 5. It also adjusts the season and then adds some of these additional bullets here. So that's what that EA would do, and that would be essentially the main changes that would occur in the plan other than the reference. And then additionally, as you'll recall at the July 25th meeting this past summer, the board received public comment from dredgers in the McCoy Creek. I think one gentleman attended, he was the chairman, but I think he's been coordinating with some other folks, but he requested that the board update the South Fork Snake River Basin Plan to reference that EA. And at the time, Mr. Patton had recommended that the board wanted to address this issue. It didn't need to do at the time. It would be more appropriate to address in the planning committee. So staff is prepared to, well, first I want to show you that letter. It's in the materials, so you can see that, but that was from back in 2023. That's lays out specifically what the Forest Service is requesting. I think Fish and Game is interested as well, but they haven't contacted us to request this change. And so I would highlight now that the process for making that change is very similar to doing the state water plan. That's the recommended process, is to go statewide with an amendment to the state water plan, of which the comprehensive basin plan is. Go out to the basin itself and hold public hearings, have a 60-day public comment period, and then come back and hold a meeting like this where we discuss what comments were received. We recommend changes. The board then adopts those changes and sends them to the legislature for updating the state water plan. That's typically the recommended process. I know there's been other discussion of potentially passing a resolution to amend the plan as well. So that's another potential path forward. I think before the board acts, perhaps they want to get some legal guidance from the Attorney General's office. This may not be the appropriate place for that, but we do have Ann Weibar on the line if you guys have any questions about the process today.
Well, I would say I would certainly like to know from legal counsel what the process is, whether this can be done by resolution, whether we should be doing an amendment to the state water plan to incorporate the South Fork sub-basin plan. And if we're going to do the latter, whether there are other potential amendments to the South Fork sub-basin plan that should be considered. If we're going to do it, we shouldn't just do it one at a time. We should look at the whole sub-basin.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think we need to amend the South Fork Basin Plan. The language that we're talking about here is in parentheses. It's just that was the then current EA, and only by reference is that in parentheses. I think we can adopt a resolution that says the current EA, this is the current EA, and this is based on the language in the plan. We're going to follow the current EA. or something to that effect.
Aren't we just bringing this McCoy Creek up in compliance with the rest of the suction dredge mining regulations that we already have in the department? The 5-inch screen and suction and isn't that consistent with what we currently have in the regulations for suction dredge mining throughout the other basins that allow it?
Mr. Miller, can you address Mr. Gibbs' question?
Mr. Chairman, the way I understand it, that is correct, but if Mr. Jones wants to clarify, if there's any clarification needed, feel free.
Yeah, the only item that I think is really being adjusted there is the number of operators that can operate each year from 5 to 15. The size requirement for the nozzle size and the horsepower of the motor is consistent with the rest of the state.
The season changes.
So, is Ann Wybar on the line, and would you like to address that question or suggestion from the chairman of the board?
Hi, yes, thank you. I'm online. I think that my proposed course of action would be for us to discuss this in executive session at the November board meeting. I can come prepared to do that, and I believe we might already have a spot held on the agenda to have that discussion.
So would you prefer that the board make the recommendation to change it by resolution subject to review by legal counsel, or?
I think at this point, there's no need for a recommendation at this point. This is informational, I think, and then there should be plenty of time for you to make that recommendation after you've heard the discussion in executive session.
This isn't timely for the November meeting. You can take action at later board meetings.
Say that again.
I don't think there's any pending deadline that requires you to take action at this November board meeting. If you did propose to do an amendment by resolution, you could still do that at a later board meeting. And if you did choose to go the other route, the statewide, like you're going with the state water plan, that could be done later as well. It doesn't need to be initiated this November.
So, Mr. Patton, is there any reason we could not take action at the November board meeting if it's on the agenda without a planning committee recommendation?
That's correct. You can take action without a planning committee recommendation if you choose, if the board chooses.
Okay, so based on advice or recommendation, I guess, of council, I think what I would propose is that we table this until the November board meeting when we have a chance to hear from council providing us with legal opinion. Somebody like to make that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, this Mark.
Okay. All in favor of tabling the topic till the November board meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. Any opposed? Right. Motion passed. We're down to other items. Mr. Patton, is there anything else we need to consider today?
Not from staff, Mr. Chairman.
How about from other board members? Anything else the planning committee needs to plan for? Okay, with that, I'm going to declare the meeting adjourned.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.